All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are from the State Battleborn Studios for the voice of the Nevada National Guard. With me in the studio today, the state chaplain, Chaplain Todd Brown.
I just want to dance.
I know. Well, hold on. I told you I wanted to use this one instead.
Hey, I spent all weekend with my grandkids.
Okay.
And so I watched Frozen all weekend long, like 37 times.
Okay.
So that doesn't surprise me, that little whimsical thing that you got going on
I love
there.
that. Well, you know what? I see you as being angelic sometimes, if you must know. I see that. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Man, it's my pleasure. So glad to be here.
Yeah, it's, you know what? This studio is brand new. Like we just put it together, and it's still new car smell.
Totally.
In here.
Totally.
So thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming out here to spend time with us. I really appreciate you.
I've been looking so forward to this. It's going to be a good time.
So you had a question for me.
I did.
And I wanted to give you an opportunity to ask that.
Well, I think the voice of Nevada, voice of Nevada National Guard. Interestingly enough, I've known you for quite a while now. And some watching have known you for quite a while too.
Sure.
You have one of those cool voices. You really do. You do emceeing work. You do DJing work. I mean, I was at August where your voice was coming over that speaker in Vegas. It was just crazy how cool your voice was. So when you say the voice of the Nevada National Guard, I think Rob Deal.
Well, you know what? That means the world to me. Thank you.
But it's not that. The voice of Nevada National Guard, this podcast that we're doing, is not that. Tell me what it is.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you exactly what it is, and I appreciate you asking that. And in fact, we talked about it before the show started. I want to make sure and capture that for everybody here. So the voice of the Nevada National Guard is a title that was bestowed upon me many years ago. I was doing change of command ceremonies for the Nevada National Guard. I've been doing it for a decade, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be able to have all that years of experience in doing MC work. And you know what? That highlights part of what being a National Guardsman is, that you serve 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in summer, and you have civilian aspirations. So I get to smush them together on a regular basis. And so when I was putting this podcast together, I was like, what are we going to name it? And what is relevant? What hits home? Right? And I said, you know what? It's got to be the voice of the Nevada National Guard. And I'll be honest with you, at first it was like, I am the voice of the... Totally. But then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm the state retention guy. And it has to be about the voice of National Guardsmen. Right?
And I think that was exciting as you were answering it earlier. You said, I have a vision, I have a goal of having, every Nevada National Guardman on here. And I think that's super exciting. But what that tells me is you want to hear their story. Because each and every one of them have a story. There will be some similarities. But each and every one of them are unique as well. And I think that is such a cool idea. Do I ever think it's going to happen? I don't think we have enough years left in our lives for all of them. But I think that the reality is it's a really cool idea. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you know what? To expand upon that concept of having every Nevada Guardsman on here, the story concept. When I'm at National Guard drill on drill weekends, and I get an opportunity to go out and talk to everybody. When I go out into the field and I talk to the soldiers, they're like, hey, you got to go talk to so-and-so. He has a really cool story. First-gen American, family moved over here from Vietnam, and this individual that you need to go talk to is excited about the journey that they went on and their parents' path to citizenship and their dedication and the pride in service. And it's just heavy.
Man. It's not only heavy, but it's so cool.
So being able to get out into that space and find those stories is exciting. And what I think is really cool, and this is what ties us together and brings you into this space, is your piece in the Nevada National Guard and what you do. You are knee deep in the best and worst of all of those stories. So tell me a little bit about your heart for service and your heart for what you do as part of the story of the voice of the National Guard.
Interesting. I didn't anticipate talking about my story, but I think this is really cool. Years ago, I wanted to serve in the military. I did not know what that looked like. You got to remember, I didn't join the National Guard till I was 38 years old.
Oh my God.
And so So there's kids there's young men and women who have served their 20 years and they're getting out at 38, 40 years old. I started at 38, 40 years old. And so I was really active in my church at the time. And I thought, hey, I want to serve my community. I want to serve at a level where I wear this uniform.
Sure.
But I had no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
And then one day, a newspaper shows up on my doorstep and I don't get the newspaper. And so I thought it was my neighbor's, and I went and looked at my neighbor's and he already had one. And so I thought, well, I got a free paper. Can't beat that. So I opened up the paper and this is what it said. It said, the headline said, the 1864th and Cav get the call. It was the largest deployment out of the state of Nevada at the time. And I think until this time, it's been the largest deployment out of the state of Nevada. And I knew right there and then I wanted to serve them. And I did not know what that meant. I didn't know if it meant pray for them.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't have a clue. So I just started praying about it, thinking about it. And the next thing I knew, about 6 months later, there I am raising my right hand to become a chaplain in the Nevada National Guard. Lo and behold, 16 years later, here I still am. So this is something that has been really placed upon my heart early I guess not early, I was 38, but it was placed upon my heart to serve. And I get to serve those who serve.
Sure.
And so for me, it's been something that's a labor of love.
Sure.
You said it earlier.
Yeah.
I would say half the time I'm in celebration mode, half the time I'm in yuckiness mode, if we want to call it that.
Yeah.
Human emotions and death and things like that. Who wants to deal with those things?
Yeah.
But I think that the Lord has gifted me and talented me enough in such a manner that I can, because Todd can't deal with those things.
Sure.
Todd doesn't have the processes 1, 2, and 3, how to get through those things. But the Lord has gifted me and given me the strength to be able to help those through those processes. Oftentimes, I'll say this a lot to people, I can't solve all your problems, but I can walk along with you as we walk through those problems together. Because the reality is all of them have a story too.
Wow.
And it's oftentimes we don't see our victory. We don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We don't understand the depths of our successes till we get to the bottom of the valley. And I don't know about you, but I don't know very many people in the chaplain corps that don't want to grab somebody by the hand and walk alongside them as we're walking out of that valley onto the peak of that mountain to understand, hey, life can be better. So,
sure.
Anyways, you got me on the preaching mode there.
Well, I think the heart of what you just said is part of that is part of it. I think that's why it's relevant.
Okay.
It is because you are in that story, right?
Yeah.
Like you're in the best moments, you're in the best chapters of that story.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes you're in the worst of those stories. So I think one of the most exciting things about having you in this space is the breadth of experience and those stories that are within you, the good and the bad. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to segue. Thank you for telling us your story. And again, thank you for coming in today.
My pleasure.
So this is actually a 3-part series. I wanted to make sure and give you an opportunity to tell everybody who you are and why you're here. Give you a voice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So this is a 3-part series. I want to pop this graphic up for you guys. 3-part series. Today's topic is dad challenges living with kids and serving. I know that's a heavy one. Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Oh man, it's super heavy. And I would add to that topic. I know that what I would say is mom or dad challenges.
Yeah.
You know
you're right. Yeah,
because we have a large population of female service members as well.
Sure.
And so a story. Here we go.
Yeah.
My last deployment that I was on, there was a young woman that was on that deployment, and she said that there was nothing harder in her entire life than getting on that airplane and seeing her 1-year-old and 3-year-old waving from her dad's arms. And I thought to myself, how does mom do that?
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? That is something that is that wow.
Yeah. Well, I know you've deployed before. You have a bunch of kids and you actually like your wife.
I do. She's amazing, you know.
I like her too. I think she's wonderful.
She's a good gal.
So someday we'll have to have you on here and tell part of that love story because it's a fascinating story. Yeah. But I think you're absolutely right. I think it's imperative that we do touch on mom issues. I think what we'll do is comment down below if you want us to really dive deep on the mom side because I really feel like the reason I left it as dads only, I didn't exclusively leave females out. The reason, or moms, I should say, is because I can't speak to the feminine side, or let's just say the mom side. If you serve in that mom role, I can't speak to that. I don't know the emotions, the good and the bad, and the physical separation. I don't know. I have deployed. You've deployed before, and left family at home, and I did it back in 2012 with the 422. Went to Afghanistan with them, and my son was 2.
Wow.
And I knew he was going to turn 3 while I was gone. And there's a picture actually that we took with us, and one of the photographers won some competitions that hung down in Vegas in one of the hospitals for a year.
Wow.
And it was, well, interestingly enough, it was because it was such a heavy emotional picture, right? It was my son at 2 years old. Our foreheads are touching. In fact, I'll pop it up on this video so you guys can see it, just to pull in the heartstrings.
Come on.
But yeah, it's he and I touching foreheads, and he's gripping my name on my uniform in this picture at our last push out to Fort Irwin. And so it's a heavy picture. So as a dad, there was nothing I experienced in Afghanistan that was as difficult as being away from my son.
Amen.
And him going through, like, my now ex-wife and I, we get along great. My ex-wife, and he had a car accident. And, during those days, they already had the Roshan phones, the throwaway phones. And they called me on the phone on the side of the road. And as a dad, again, I can't speak to mom challenges, but as a dad, being that far away with your wife and your child on the side of the road after a car accident, it was gut-wrenching. I couldn't physically drive there and be with them in that moment. I felt guilty for not being there. Maybe if I was there, it wouldn't have happened. And fortunately, they're fine. The car, not so much, but they were fine. So, and that's just a tiny piece.
Yes.
It didn't matter what I went through when I was in Afghanistan. Nothing was as bad as being away from my son and Christmas away from him and his birthday turning 3. And so when we talk about, I'm going to flash this up right quick again so you guys can see it.
Why is your flash through there? You bring up a good point. I didn't think about that. Really, really good idea, bringing in a female soldier to be able to talk to that. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I think, comment down below. Let you guys see us again. Comment down below if you guys are interested in fact, I tell you what, you can send me an email, robert.e.deal4.mil@army.mil. Send me an email and volunteer some amazing moms for us to bring on to the Voice of the Nevada National Guard.
Cool.
I think that'd be really cool. It gives you guys an opportunity to send us some names, and it'll be secure. So, and then we'll ask them if there's something they're interested in, and then bring them on the show and give them an opportunity to talk about what it's like to be a mom and serve in the military. So I'm going to pop this graphic back up real quick. Again, today's topics: living with kids and serving, specifically dad's challenges in today's show. And I think we've pretty much decided we're going to do mom challenges. And interview some folks. The second that's going to come up in the next couple of weeks will be being married to someone who doesn't like the military. That can go 100 different ways. And the third, which will probably come out mid-July after the 4th of July, will be deciding whether or not to complete 20 years in the military based on those challenges.
Yes.
Living with kids and serving. I know there's 10 different directions that we can go with this, but this is your voice today.
Okay.
So I wanted you to tell us a little bit about your family and your kids and your 16 years of service, because your kids were still pretty small when you...
Kind of, not really. I mean, they were all in high school. It was these 16 years. Yeah, I mean, my youngest at the time probably would have been 14, 15 years old. I was riding in a bus. We were going to church camp. I was going to be a counselor at the church camp. My son, my youngest, was sitting next to me. We were going by a bunch of ships, and we were somewhere in California. I don't remember exactly where we were, but there was a whole bunch of military ships out there. And I said to him, "Hey, did you ever have the desire to serve in the military?" And he said, "No, I don't think I do." And I said, I do, but I'm too old, and man, lo and behold, 6 months, a year later, there I am raising my right hand. So if there's a will, there's a way. I think that when it comes to serving, I'm a little bit different when it comes to little ones at home. My children were adults or young adults at the time when I joined the military. Now I have grandkids and things like that. But I will say this is is coming full circle. Now I have grandkids that are of the age, and I have missed plenty of birthdays. I have missed plenty of things of those grandkids, and I feel bad. I feel guilty. And I think that when it comes to the young men and women, young men, what we're talking about today, the fathers who are serving in the Guard, in the military, in the reserves, whatever it is, and you miss those moments. Now this is not going to get fans excited when they hear this, but you don't get them back.
Yeah.
And I think that the hard part about that is how do we live with that?
Sure.
How do we move forward with that? And I think that your discussion as we move forward for the next 3 weeks on the topics, we're going to get into that a little bit more.
Sure.
But the reality is how do you serve with kids? I have, like I said, you've talked about it earlier. I live the good and I live the bad because of the nature of my job, and I see it all the time. One of the more difficult ones that I've dealt with over the years, not me. This is an indirect thing.
Yeah, sure.
But many a soldiers, men, when they go deploy or when they go away on the weekend, they leave their home in their uniform, in the uniforms that we have on.
Sure.
And the kids, especially the younger kids, see that as when Dad puts that on, my time is being taken away.
Wow.
When Dad puts that on, I'm not going to see him for 2 days. Or when Dad puts that on, there was a time that Dad put that on, and I didn't get to see him for a year.
Wow.
I did 3rd grade and never saw my dad. So there's huge challenges with it. How do we become more successful at it?
Yeah.
How do we parent through some of those difficult moments? Me and you've done stuff like this for a long time. It all boils down to one word. And that one word is communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I communicate with a 2-year-old? Can I communicate with a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old? Probably not. We can't communicate at the level that we hope to. We do communicate with them. Sure. But what I'm talking about communication is communicating with my spouse.
Yeah.
Communicating with my mom, my dad, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, making sure that we are all under the same agreements that, hey, I know that I have to do this. This is what I've been called to do. This is what I feel called to do.
Yeah.
This is me serving my country, making sure that those relationships are solid.
Sure.
Why? Because you're going to have to call on dad, father-in-law, uncle, whatever it is, to help you with some things along the way when you're gone.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that relationship, if you don't have that solid relationship, you've already set yourself behind the 8 ball of trying to be the parent when you're not there.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times that I have encouraged young fathers to make sure they have a really good relationship with brothers, moms, dads, husbands, friends, pastors. When I was gone on my first deployment, I had to. My youngest at the time, believed that he was 17, 18, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So he was getting ready to leave the house. He might have been a little bit younger, but he was going to buy a truck. He had the money saved up for it, this, that, and the other. And I thought to myself, I'm going to miss this moment. I can't drive to the house with him, look at it, kick the tires.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't drive away with him. Yeah. I can't say, hey, let me put the first tank of gas in for you or whatever. Yeah. Nowadays, you'd have to take out a small personal loan to do that. But I mean, back then,
right. True story.
Back then, $20, $30, you fill up your tank. But I think to myself, those are moments that I'm not going to get back. But you know what? I had a good relationship with the pastors of my church. And one of them was a mechanic. And that was his pastime. He loved working on cars and trucks and building stuff. So I called him.
Yeah.
And I said, can you do this, A, because of your experience?
Yeah.
Then I know that he's going to be in the right hands. But more importantly, because I know that you will not miss this moment because you know how important it is.
Yeah.
Sure enough, man, he hooked it up. He was there. He made the phone call immediately after I called him, and he bought that truck, and he had it for a couple, 3 years, and I got to see it when I got home. So when I talk communication, that's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
I'm not talking, hey, I'm going to have a really in-depth conversation with my first grader.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand that.
Yeah.
So I hope that I know that I went a little bit sideways on that, but
well, no, I want to touch on 2 points there.
Do it.
Right. One, you mentioned the way that you communicate with the children in different. Your wife is a clinical psychologist,
clinical therapist,
so certainly an expert layman here. My understanding of communicating with each of the ages changes dramatically. Mine was only 2. Interestingly enough, fast forward, he's 7 or 8. It's been years. And we're sitting at the end of the bed and he says, "Hey, Dad, when you went to Afghanistan, how come you didn't take me with you?"
Yeah. Yeah.
That it hit home at first, but I was like, okay, I gotta think through this because this is part of his fabric.
Yes.
Whatever I say next is going to have a dramatic impact on the rest of his life.
Totally.
Not to be too melodramatic, but I mean, like that's been rolling around in his noggin all this time.
Yeah, you can't throw it out like because I couldn't.
Yeah, and I said, I said, you know what, son? They didn't let us take kids. So he was like, oh.
and he accepted it. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
But I was in that moment, I was like, oh God, like in my head, I was like fireworks going off. Like what is the best thing to say, And so fortunately the Yellow Ribbon program is impactful.
Yes, it is.
Folks that are mobilizing and then when they're coming back and when they're redeploying. I don't know why they call it redeploying.
Never knew that.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Nope. Whatever. If you know what that means, redeploying, how about comment down below?
Never said.
Why did they name it redeploying when you come home? Anyway.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So when we were getting ready to push out the door, they said some things to us like, hey, if they're below a certain age, all that really matters is that they have a stable home life.
Yeah.
Right. And that somebody is there taking good care of them.
Yep.
Right. And that they're not going to be negatively impacted by your absence.
Yep.
Right. Of course, if there's a good home and there's stability and safety in that, but really safety and food and warmth are the core things they need at certain ages. And I knew that, but it still bothered me because of those moments when a 2 or 3 year old asks you those like fundamental functioning questions. Dad, why do cars go fast?
Yeah.
And, those are the moments that you miss, right?
Do these shoes make me run faster?
Yeah. Like, Dad, the right one runs faster than the left one, I swear. And
you're going to miss those moments.
You're in the shoe store and the only size missing is the one that fits your kid.
Bingo.
And they're not going to leave the store without something new. You know what I mean? So anyway, then something else that you touched on was a village, right? And you always hear it takes a village to raise children.
Yep.
Right. And how imperative that village is, specifically when you're deploying. But hey, let's touch on this real quick. I'm a single dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I have 2 kids. One's 16, one is 11, and my youngest is a type 1 diabetic.
Okay.
Right? With significant health challenges. Right.
Totally.
And my whole family is on the East Coast. Right. So my ex-wife and I, we get along great, and we're able to, within reason,
communicate.
Yes. Way better than we once did.
Yeah.
But she is, of course, their mom, right? But she is my only village.
Yep.
Right. So I have some significant challenges because my village is a village of one.
Yes.
Right. So when you say it's imperative that, especially when you're mobilizing or deploying, that you have fortified that village in order to help you with your children. And you mentioned that somebody from the church was able to
help
pinch hit for you and come and be in that moment for you. So you felt like the moment was still managed well and you didn't have that. I would say the term that I would use for it would be regret. You know what I mean? Regret, like I regret not being in that moment.
I think regret is a post feeling.
Agreed.
Where in the moment you felt guilty.
Yeah, sure. Oh, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Now that I kind of unpack that a little bit. So just to close out the topic about the village concept, being in a guard and even going to drill, you touched on this a few minutes ago, even going to drill requires, especially with little ones. I would suggest that some of the biggest challenges for guardsmen is when they have little ones.
Amen.
Right?
I mean, think about that. The little ones. And when I think about little ones, we don't live anymore in in a traditional society when it comes to how we work. What I mean by that is it used to be Monday through Friday, everything shut down on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that was normal.
Yeah.
That was very normal. There might have been the malls open on the weekend or whatever. But the reality is we exist not only here in Nevada, but across the country in a 24/7 society.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, your work shift is Wednesday through Sunday, or your work, so everything's open. So what happens if you're not a single dad?
Yeah.
And your spouse has a great job.
Yeah, sure.
And she works Wednesday through Sunday.
Yeah.
And now here comes your drill weekend. And then you have a good job, civilian side, and you have to take a couple days off of work to go to drill where you're going to get paid less.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a topic for another day when we talk about
pay for childcare
and pay for childcare. So now, and maybe dogs.
Yeah.
Because you can't take care of the dogs all day. So I mean, maybe doing drill duty is costing you money.
Yeah.
And affecting your relationship with your spouse and affecting your relationship with your children. Why? Because now all of a sudden you got to drive the kids 2 hours to, Susanville or something to stay with grandpa and grandma for the weekend.
Yeah, sure.
And you got to take a day off of work just to get them there and get it back. So, I mean, being a dad and serving is a challenge.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talked about the very beginning, the voice of it, hearing somebody's story. I would assure you that you're going to hear 1,000 different stories.
Yeah.
Of the challenges that it takes to be a dad and serve the national.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? Comment down below the topics that you want to cover. And if we need to expand the series on parenting issues. And we mentioned that we were going to bring on some moms specifically to highlight the mom challenges, because we're one-sided here.
Yeah, we can only connect at that. Yeah.
Admittedly. So, you know what? I wanted to make sure that we touch on the concept of trickle down. The challenges, like today's topic that we're sticking to is dad, raising kids, and serving in the military, right?
Yeah.
And then you started to touch on all the other third order effects, like the financial impacts. And then you mentioned the dogs. And I'll tell you a funny something. At one point I had, because in the Guard, some units are different. Some you got to be there from 6 a.m. or 5 a.m, or you got to stay there, or you're going out of town.
Yep.
Every unit's different, right?
Yep.
And I've been in a bunch of different units in the Nevada Guard, and I had a situation where I was going to have to be there from sunup till sundown, and I was going to be there overnight. And so I pushed the envelope and I brought my camper and I parked it way in the back of the armory, and I had both kids out there. I had the generator off in the asphalt, had the generator running, air conditioning's running, and they're in the lap of luxury, really, but it only took like 2 hours before they were bored.
Yep.
And they came in, and I'm doing my thing in the armory, and I think General Armstrong was there, and there was several higher ups that were on campus, and my kids in their pajamas and hair unbrushed come just like down the dang hallway. And I'm talking to one of the generals, and my kids come walking up and they grab me by the leg, and everybody just looks at me like, really, dude? So
a unique challenge in and of itself.
But I didn't have any other choices,
No.
And for the record, somebody's going to say Sergeant Deal said it was okay. It's not okay to bring your camper to drill and bring your kids and your dog, and
yes.
that's not a thing. So don't do it.
No, but I think that I think that story right there is one of a million that you could hear of others that have just did everything they could to get to this, to serve.
Yeah. I didn't in that moment, I had no other option. I can't leave my youngest at home alone because she's type 1 diabetic and she's only 11 and she's not self-sufficient yet.
Yep.
It's just not safe.
Yep.
Right. And my 16-year-old, fortunately, can take care of her. We've worked through with the attorneys and the doctor, and I start to hesitate about talking about my personal issues, but I think this is actually relevant.
Come on.
Because I don't think I'm the only person in the Nevada Guard who has a child with some sort of disability.
Nope.
So we haven't even touched on that.
Oh, good Lord.
We're just touching the surface with being a dad, serving in the military with kids, and really we just scratched the surface with your kids were a little older when you joined. Mine was still 2 and I only had 1 at the time. but then having one with a health issue, like I wonder how many guardsmen have kids with health issues, and because that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Oh man!
Because if and I don't know about medical conditions. We'll suggest if there's a condition where the child cannot be left alone,
yes,
even if they're a little older, right? We have some mutual friends in the Guard that have some children that have some significant challenges like that, and without a spouse in the mix, without on the weekend, overnight, like significant challenges,
yes,
and continuing.
Oh,
right?
I have all the. Again, I'm going to go back to. I see both sides of the coin, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, whatever, due to the nature of what my job is as a chaplain. Now, I know dads that deployed. I know dads that have served in guard duty, drill weekends, this, that, and the other. And man, they just knocked it out of the park. I would love to see them write a book, or love to see, sit down and hear from them how they were successful. But I got a nickel says that when you asked them, they're going to say, man, it was a garage sale. I was in survival mode. 99.9% of the time. But somehow they did it, and they did it successfully. I don't think that we learn. I don't even think that we appreciate all that we've been through until we get to the other side of it and go, hey, I survived. Hey, my kids aren't jacked up. Hey, my relationship with my spouse is still intact. How did we do it? And that's what I really want. And when people come see me, hey, I'm really struggling. Can't do this. I don't know how to do this anymore. Husband, as a dad, and then we're talking about dads. When a dad comes in with this, I first and foremost say, how have you gotten this far? And he says, well, I don't know. Well, maybe we need to start addressing some of those. How did you get here, rather than capitalizing, or rather than really focusing on all the negative things that have happened over the past month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, whatever it is. Tell me where your success stories are, because you haven't served for 5 or 6 years in complete 100% survival mode. There's been some victories. What are they?
Fascinating. That's all right. Another topic for another day. Wins, again, one-sided for the record. I was like, why aren't they talking about moms? Because we're not moms, and we don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So we're actually going to stick a pin in this topic. For today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flash back up our topics in the series here. So our topic today was living with kids and serving, and I feel like we just scratched the surface there.
Barely.
And then coming up after this, our second in the series of dad challenges will be being married to someone who doesn't like the military. And then third and last, released mid-July timeframe, is going to be deciding whether or not to complete 20 years based on these challenges. So I tell you, I'm so honored that you were here today. Did you have something you wanted to touch on?
No.
I'm so honored that you came out today and that you were willing to be with us and tell us about your history, why you joined the Guard, about your family, some of your experiences, and being a part of the voice of the Nevada National Guard. Do me a favor. Look into your camera and tell them who you are, and tell them that you are the voice of the Nevada National Guard.
I am Chaplain Brown, Nevada National Guard State Chaplain, and I am the voice of the Nevada National Guard.
I think we have to end it on that. I think that was fantastic. Yes!
It's been so fun.
Hey, we'll see you guys next time on the voice of the Nevada National Guard.